A big focus at the moment, reacting to stand-up comedian Kunal Kamra's remarks. Minister of State for Home Yogesh Ramdas Kadam has said Kunal Kamra will be punished. He added that while the Constitution guarantees freedom of speech, it does not grant the right to insult those holding constitutional positions. The Minister of State for Home in Maharashtra has said that this kind of comedy is intolerable. He further stated that one cannot behave like this in Maharashtra. In fact, we are just lining up that reaction for you, but this is the latest in this Kunal Kamra joke row. His remarks, allegedly on Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, have sparked lots of reactions from the Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena. Minister of State for Home Yogesh Ramdas Kadam now saying that Kunal Kamra will be punished. He added that while the Constitution guarantees freedom of speech, it does not grant the right to insult those holding constitutional positions. In fact, Kunal Kamra has refused to apologize for his jokes. While he has agreed to cooperate with the police and the courts, he questioned whether similar action would actually be taken against the BMC and all those who resorted to vandalism. In fact, further taking a dig at the BJP-led Maharashtra government, Kunal Kamra said, and I quote, "Perhaps for my next venue, I will opt for Elphinstone Bridge or any other structure in Mumbai that's in need of speedy demolition." Mr. Kamra also addressed vandalism at the Habitat in his statement, writing that attacking a venue for a comedian's words is as senseless as overturning a lorry carrying tomatoes just because you didn't like the butter chicken you were served. But referring to what he called political leaders threatening to teach him a lesson, Kunal Kamra has said that the right to freedom of speech and expression is not only to be used to fawn over the powerful and rich, even though today's media would have us believe otherwise. But the latest being, the Minister of State in Maharashtra for Home has said this kind of comedy is intolerable and that Kunal Kamra will be punished. Here's his reaction.
He will be punished. If you are going to insult Honorable Supreme Court, if you are going to insult Honorable Prime Minister of India, if you are going to insult Hindus, gods and goddesses, it is not tolerable. You cannot behave like this in Maharashtra or in India. As a comedian, we also enjoy comedy. I enjoy Veerdas, I enjoy, in my childhood, I enjoyed Pula Deshpande. But this is not kind of comedy which will be tolerated.
Anuj Raite has been tracking all the developments for us. He joins us live at the moment. Anuj, we've just heard from Mr. Kadam saying this kind of comedy is intolerable, and he's further stated that one cannot behave like this in Maharashtra.
Yes, this is the second statement coming from Yogesh Kadam. Earlier yesterday we heard him speak in the assembly where he said that stringent action will be taken. He was speaking after his senior and chief minister Devendra Fadnavis, was also the home minister, finished speaking. And Yogesh Kadam promised for stringent action, said that the call record will be checked. At the same time, the bank transaction details of Kunal Kamra will also be checked. Now, the reason why bank transaction comes into the foray is because ever since the attack took place at Habitat the day before yesterday, late at night, we've seen that several senior Shiv Sena leaders, including, members of parliament, several senior position holders, and even chief minister and deputy chief minister have hinted at the role of the opposition parties, especially, Shiv Sena UBT in this entire matter, given that there's already a podcast or an interview that was shot with Sanjay earlier, and that is when this entire Kangana Ranaut thing came into the foray. Now we see, Yogesh Kadam is what is interesting to see here is that it is not just a reference being made to the comments with regards to Eknath Shinde in this case, but one can see that the government of Maharashtra will try to broaden the scope of this entire case. Right? There was no joke in that entire 45-minute clip, either on the Hindu gods or goddesses or on the Chief Justice. This is a reference to the older clips of Kunal Kamra. We know that Kunal Kamra has been doing political satire for quite some time. He's been in the middle of multiple controversies earlier as well, and also with media. So we can see that the reference to Hindu gods and goddesses and the Chief Justice and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi jokes, is something that the government will look into, which means that it's a broader scope of spectrum that they will be considering. At the same time, as we speak, only a few moments earlier from now onwards, we saw that official summons were given by Khar police to Kunal Kamra, who's currently in Pondicherry. He used to live in Mumbai earlier and later he shifted to Pondicherry, and he was asked to present himself in front of the Khar police at 11 a.m. Something that seems that doesn't seem practical as of now. So one can assume that that there will be future summons issued as well. But the Maharashtra government have made their stance very clear. Yesterday, the Chief Minister spoke on this matter. Deputy Chief Minister, while speaking to a media house, said that it's not about insult to him, but it's about insult to institutions in the country, including businessmen, including Chief Justice of India and the Prime Minister. But at the same time, we saw his senior, that is Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who's also the Home Minister, come to defend and talk about how this is in extremely distasteful manner. And at the same time, we also saw a reference being made to the red constitution booklet that Kunal Kamra showed in that show. A similar booklet to what Rahul Gandhi uses, or particularly used when he was campaigning for Mahavikas Aghadi in Maharashtra. We saw Devendra Fadnavis made a reference to it back then as well, where he said that this book is not constitution, but it's something that promotes anarchy, and that led to some sort of controversy back then. Even yesterday, when speaking about the book, he talked about it and said that Kunal Kamra is carrying the same book which Rahul Gandhi propagated, and suggested him to read, as it does allow you freedom of expression, but at the same time it also expects you to be respectful to other individuals, especially those holding position or constitutional powers. Now, what action will be taken? What will be the route of the judiciary? How much of creative liberty will be looked into this matter by the courts, by the judges here in Maharashtra, is something that we'll all be waiting for.
That remains to be seen. As always, Anuj, thanks so much for joining us with the latest on this front. Do stay on with us for the next update as well. Anuj Raite has just briefly touched upon this. Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has responded to Kunal Kamra's remarks against him and condemned the misuse of freedom of expression as he distanced himself from the vandalism that was carried out by his party cadre. As Anuj has been reporting, Kunal Kamra has been asked to appear before the investigating office as well. Anuj, on that front, when is Kunal Kamra expected to appear before the investigating officer? As you mentioned, we're given to understand that he's in Pondicherry.
Yes, he's in Tamil Nadu. He earlier used to live here in Mumbai, but later moved to Pondicherry. As far as the summons is concerned, which were communicated to him via WhatsApp, what we know is that, he's been asked to present himself by 11 a.m. Now, that's something that probably would not be possible for him, even if he wants to appear before the police. So one can expect, future summons to be there in place as well. But talking about Eknath Shinde's reaction to this entire matter, we've seen that since yesterday, all the executive heads who have spoken about this entire issue, except for Ajit Pawar, who said that law, constitution and rules should be equal to everyone, and no one's action should kind of oversee or overpower these basic fundamentals of the country. The other executive heads have not really attacked those who have vandalized the structure at Khar yesterday. Yes, they have at times kind of tried to dissociate themselves with the actions, as Eknath Shinde in this case as well said that what happened at Khar shouldn't have happened. It was not necessarily right, but at the same time we cannot see a proper criticism by those holding power against these against the individuals who quite illegally tried to bring that structure down by themselves as a form of an attack or a protest. We also saw Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis speak yesterday, and even he spoke in a similar manner. In fact, while defending his party workers, yesterday we saw Eknath Shinde say that every action will have a reaction, which probably will, welcome a little more criticism from the opposition, who have been pointing this out, who have been stressing on the inefficiency of the Home Department in last 1 month or so, because this is not just a one-off case that has happened in Maharashtra. We've seen the development that has taken place in Nagpur. We've seen what has been going on in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar when it comes to Aurangzeb tomb, and now this being the latest entrant to the list of law and order situation crumbling according to the opposition in the entire state. With just 2 days to go for Maharashtra Assembly budget session to end, one can expect ruckus, one can expect a lot of discussion and narrative to shape around this entire matter inside and outside the assembly. In fact, Aditya Thackeray made an interesting point yesterday. While talking to the media, he said that this seems to be an attempt by Eknath Shinde to undermine the power of his senior, that is Chief Minister and Home Minister Devendra Fadnavis, considering that there has already been a lot of criticism against the Home Department for not being able to maintain law and order situation across the state. Ruckus being created in the prime location in Khar, which is in Bandra, right in the middle of the city, something for which those 12 odd individuals from Shiv Sena were punished yesterday. They were detained by the police, but before the end of the day, they were let go off on the basis of the anticipatory bail. So one can expect ruckus inside and outside the assembly today in Maharashtra, given that it's just a few hours left for the assembly session to end.
Right. Also, meanwhile, Kunal Kamra's response, Anuj, he's taken a dig at the BJP-led Maharashtra government and said that perhaps for his next venue, he's going to opt for Elphinstone Bridge or any other structure in Mumbai that actually needs speedy demolition.
Well, yes, you see, when you look at the statement, he's divided his statement into multiple parts. While on one hand, he's dealt with the attack and has talked about how, the attack was extremely futile, considering that, there was another show that was going on there. We see, in the video that has gone viral, where the Shiv Sena leaders led by Rahul Kanal, when they confront, the people working at the car studio, when they told about how this episode, although released day before yesterday, but was shot weeks earlier, and yet the individuals went on to demolish or to, kind of ransack that entire place. So that has been addressed by Kunal Kamra. He's talked about how, he's not going to apologize. He seems to have taken a legal opinion either by a legal expert of his or by some other individual, as in wherein he stated that according to him, cracking a joke or taking a dig at someone who holds constitutional power is not necessarily wrong, right? So that also hints at the strength of the case that we'll see as this case or as this entire matter seems to be going into the judiciary path now. We've seen that, comedians facing the wrath of judiciary and executive heads across the state has become a bit of a trend here in Maharashtra. However, it is the stance of the judge, the stance of the court that is going to play a very crucial role in this. Because interestingly, in that entire speech or song that Kunal Kamra sang, a spoof song from Shah Rukh Khan's film, there is no name mentioned, right? There is no direct reference to Eknath Shinde. However, the entire scenario gives away which individual he's talking to, because he uses the traitor or the Gaddaar jibe that has been associated with Eknath Shinde for almost 2.5 years, ever since the Shiv Sena split in 2022. So, will that affect the strength of the case is something that the government will have to look into. But Kunal Kamra seems confident and refuses to apologize even after the ruckus yesterday.
Well, Anuj, thanks so much for breaking down the details for us. Meanwhile, I must also inform our viewers that Maharashtra's Khar police has sent summons to comedian Kunal Kamra's house over his latest remarks in his Naya Bharat stand-up show. A team of Khar police went to Kunal Kamra's house yesterday, is what we're given to understand, where his parents live, and a copy of the summons were delivered to his house where his parents are. Kunal Kamra is out of Maharashtra. As Anuj Raite is reporting, he's believed to be in Pondicherry at the moment. So the summons have also been sent to him on WhatsApp. Meanwhile, a Mumbai court granted bail to Shiv Sena leader Rahul Kanal and 11 others who were arrested in connection with vandalizing the studio where comedian Kunal Kamra had performed his Naya Bharat set. Anuj is still with us at the moment. Anuj, as we speak, 3.2 million views on that YouTube video of Kunal Kamra's. Just summarize for our viewers the legal and political action that has been initiated against him just in the last over 36 hours.
The timeline of this entire matter becomes important for us to understand. We see that when the clips of the video started making rounds on social media, the entire video is 45 minutes long. But we see that, it includes a stand-up bit. It's still there on YouTube. And it also has a bunch of songs targeting different institutions in the country. The clip about Eknath Shinde started making rounds, which came across, Shiv Sena leader came across that clip, and that is when they approached the studio. So when they ransacked the studio, when they vandalized the studio, the first complaint that was registered in the Khar police station was against the individuals who had done it. But Shiv Sena local MLA Murjib Patel was extremely prompt in his reaction, as a counter complaint was also lodged in the police station. Now we see that a criminal complaint was lodged by Rahul Kanal first, and then an FIR by Murjib Patel. In the criminal complaint, there is a mention, or the criminal complaint is against 4 individuals. It's not just against Kunal Kamra, but the names of Sanjay Raut, Aditya Thackeray from Shiv Sena UBT, and Rahul Gandhi from Congress Party were also mentioned in that criminal complaint. Whereas when you talk about the FIR, that has a clear-cut mention of Kunal Kamra only. The basis on which the FIR was made, where you see the majority of the FIR content is about verbatim the song that was making rounds and which has heard the sentiments of Shiv Senics. It stated that this song or this content created animosity between two political rivals or two political groups here in Maharashtra, on the basis of which this complaint has been filed. Now, the next day, the action shifted to assembly, where we see that there were people or ministers or members from the ruling dispensation who attacked Kunal Kamra. At the same time, there was the opposition, including, of course, Shiv Sena, UBT, right at the forefront, who defended Kunal Kamra, stated that what he said is nothing new. This has been there in the popular political discourse of Maharashtra for the longest time. It's just that this is the first occasion that it has been said on a non-political platform by someone who has had a very erratic history with BJP and Shiv Sena, Shinde faction for quite some time. That gives, the ruling dispensation here in Maharashtra a free hand to act against them. So, it has also become a question or a debate of freedom of expression, which will be discussed today.
Well, Kunal Kamra has also meanwhile addressed the vandalism at the Habitat in his statement, writing, attacking a venue for a comedian's words is as senseless as overturning a lorry carrying tomatoes just because you didn't like the butter chicken you were served. But as always, Anuj Raite, thank you so much for joining us with all the details.